morphine no more because I've had as much as I could take. I'd had my dose. But I remembered back in the day, how old folk had their remedies. And it was Carol syrup, a little bit of kerosene, a shot of whiskey, cut up an onion and put up in it, sugar, tea bag, and cook it, and you drink it. Okay? Now, when the lady that brings the food around, I told her to take everything away, but leave my water, my tea, my salt, my pepper, and in the tea, there was a lemon on the side of it. You know how to do that.
Oh, yeah.
And I was paralyzed from the waist down, but over my bed, I was in a private room. There was a trestle that I could pull myself up with and slide from end to end. And there was a zinc right down the end of my bed. And when the lady went out to relieve herself, she turned the lights off. And my wife was sitting there, and she was, you know how women go through things. So I said, you go home and leave my Bible. I have an electronic Bible that lights up.
Oh, really?
And turn the light off. I said, I'm going into my closet to have prayer, but I'm going to read my scriptures first. I went into Proverbs. It says, my son, don't forget what your mother and father has taught you. Getting back to that stuff I just told you about. It says, my son, lean not to thine own understanding, for I will direct your path. It says, my son, put an ornament around your neck. That means to write it down in your heart. And don't forget what your mother and father has taught you. It says, it's telling me to lean on him, for I will direct your path. And I looked up, there was that light that won't go out, shining down that glass of water. And I remember what they said, what it said and what my mother and father used to do for me. I got up on that rail, I slid down to the zinc, poured the cold water out, put the tea in it, finished, folded up with hot water. I put salt, I put pepper, I squeezed the lemon, and wait a minute, she had pancakes for me too. I put the honey in it.
Okay.
Didn't have no syrup. Stirred it up, because I'm bloated up, man, because everything they put in my catheter would not come out. My stomach was out here in pain unbearable. And I sipped it down, and sipped it, and I heard something go glug glug. That thing started to fill up, and the nurses, they had me, I guess, they knew it up in the front that something was happening. They come running in as fast as they empty that bottle and put it all on, it would fall back up. And that went on for about an hour. And they had told me that I needed blood. I refused blood because I remember what happened to Arthur Ashe and my sister-in-law. She got a bad transfusion from over here in Norristown. She died. About 2:30, 3 o'clock the next day, I got back up again. So I called my wife and told her that I was doing so much better. The pain I had it, but they've given me pain pills to take it away. It's just the next day now. So she came on down. She didn't care what time in the morning it was, she came on down. So I said, baby, I gotta have blood. She said, well, you go ahead and take it. I said, I won't take that blood. And she said, well, things are different than they used to be. I said, yeah, my sister-in-law just died last year. I don't want it. If I have to go home, I go home. I ain't taking that blood. So she started calling family members. My son said, called his job. They started giving blood. I said, yeah, I'll take that blood. 2:30 next day, 3 o'clock, they said, your blood is coming back, your blood count's coming back. So I said, While I was being screened, you find somebody else that needs it. God's going to bring me back. I went to hospital with 5 men. Was on a support group. They'd called me all times of money. They wanted to know how I was staying so strong. I said, because I turned it over to God. All of them died. This was 1997. Okay? 14 years. So I told the people upstairs, you know, when I gave testimony, I said, I told the Lord at that time to give me 30 years more, and I'm ready to go home. I'm older now than 30. But that makes me, I'm 70, so that makes me 100. They laughed. But I know if you go to him sincerely, because the scripture says, if you have a mountain in front of you, you can say, move, mountain, move. I'm not talking about no mountain, no real hill, but if you have a mountainside experience, you can say, move, mountain, move. 1997, I'm cancer free. All those guys are dead.
Wow, that's awesome. That's amazing.
Wow. So I know what God can do. He can fix it. He's a wheel inside of a wheel.
Most definitely. Most definitely.
Okay.
Okay. You were talking about like how back in way back they had like with the gatherings there was a close-knit community. Do you still feel that there's some kind of closeness within the community?
Yeah. It's just the new ones coming in, like the old white people, the old Italian, the old German people that used to live here.
Okay.
They used to pay us visits, but they died off. That's the only reason that they don't come back. We have a few white, in fact I got one next door, right across the street from me. Get along great. It's just the college kids. Drinking, drugs, they don't know how to handle it. It ain't to be handled. You read the scripture that the body is a temple. They're destroying the temple. They're letting Satan direct them, lead God and direct them, you know, and it's bothering other people.
I got you. Is there, who are some of the most like influential people that you can think of that lived in Mount Pleasant throughout the years?
Oh, they did, man. You had my father, Ed Byrd Sr. You had a fellow named Joe Reed. Deacon Dennis. Deacon Steve Dennis. That's about it.
And like anything in specific that you can think of that like kind of defined them as in, like what they did for the community?
Well, one thing, there was an old woman that didn't have any insurance. Her name was Caroline Gibson.
Okay.
She lived on my father's property. And he paid the whole bill for a funeral. I idolized my father because he done things that I've seen no other man do. When they built this church, he hauled most of the lumber to it. When the first set of seats were put here, under the pastorage of Reverend James Ewell, there was a Mount Pleasant Baptist Church of Philadelphia. They were having new pews installed, and my father got his men together to go in and bring those seats here. So I idolized my father. Repeat that question again.
Oh, it was the most influential people that you can think of in Mount Pleasant and like what they did at the time?
Jose Reed. I had a lot of respect for him. He was Indian descent, West Indian descent.
Yeah.
He was a hard man to get along with, but the things he did and how he did them in that time, it was phenomenal. He owned property. Most things, back up a little bit, most things that we ate around here, we raised it.
Okay.
We raised our own pigs. At one time, this whole field back here was our garden. And when I first tasted a piece of bread sliced, I thought it was cake. See, because we cooked everything there was about 3 cars in the whole town.
Oh, okay.
3 cars in the whole town. So we had to know how to do things like that because of the fact, how are you going to go from point A to point B? And from Wayne train station, there was a bus. 2 times a day, in the morning and in the afternoon. It would come and there was a wall right from the other side of the golf course.
Okay.
That would go down almost to King of Prussia Road there.
Mm-hmm.
And it would bring people in the morning from here to Wayne. And then in the afternoon, about time for everybody to go off and work, about 4:30, it would come back. It would sit up there on the side of the road for about 10 to 15 minutes, take people to Wayne, or it would leave.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that answered that question because it was the other side of it, I can tell.
No. Do you have anything else?
Besides the college life, moving into the community, is there anything else that you'd like to see changed, or?
I would like to see those college kids out of here.
Okay.
Don't care if they're white or black. Families move back in these dwellings. I mean, you're young yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You guys know what happens.
Oh, yeah.
You know what happens. I've been there, done that. That's the only thing. Because I'm looking for something bad to happen. These guys that bought these places, they didn't buy them to establish an income off of families.
Mm-hmm.
They bought them to get rich. I'm under the understanding each one of those kids paid from $1,400 to $1,500 a month. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they'll get rich overnight.
Was it a great place for children to grow up back then?
Great. I can remember when our dad used to take us, or other dads and mothers and dads would take the kids on vacation. You could forget to lock your door. Leave it open. You could leave a bicycle out in your yard. When you come back, it would still be there because somebody would watch your house. We were in Cambridge, Maryland, and several people came and called us and said that we locked your house up. You left the door open. They would by and check the door.
Yeah. Do you think it's still a good place for children to grow up, or do you feel that college?
Yeah, but
taking away from that?
it's a good place if you keep watch.
Mm-hmm.
Not only here in Mount Pleasant, anywhere. By knowing teachers at Conestoga High School, they would tell me they never thought that things like are going on in that school would ever happen. I know one teacher took an early retirement because of the kids. There's the attitude of the kids, the things that they do. Kids today, half of them 50 cents short of a half a dollar. The things they do,
Mm-hmm.
and bold with it. Your class is going to have a field day with this one. But I went up to Conestoga High School, and right where, let me see, if you're going down the upper golf, there's some trees right out in front of the door of the band room or auditorium, there were a couple having sex.
Really? Wow.
Call themselves hiding in right here is the high school, right across, here's the road, right over here are houses.
Some people are stupid. Going back to what you were talking about with the college students, do you know how many students live here right now? Or
no, I never count it. I just pray on it if God moves it. I just pray on it, God moves it. Don't care who moves in there. Just get rid of it. I mean, it's awful. I'm going to tell you how much I think this town is worth. Man, come to my house. He was bold enough to come to my house. And he's sweet talking me and I'm acting dumb. He would like to buy my property. I got a lot of property. Land back in my property.